Today we will be going over Trust Central as an overview and the creation of your budget within Trust Central. We're excited to be presenting this session as part of the onboarding series that we kicked off last week. And the goal is to support you through getting your contract executed and beyond that, launching 5 years of successful programming to benefit the children in our community. There are 3 of us that will be presenting here today. My name is Jorge Gonzalez, and I will be presenting an overview of Trust Central. My colleague Brenda Galarza will be presenting the process for creating and submitting your budget within Trust Central. And our colleague Blanche Johnson will be taking your questions via the chat and moderating that chat. Before we dive into the material, we do want to cover some housekeeping rules. We want to be clear that we do want to take questions. We welcome your questions. Keep them coming in the chat. We know we have gotten some already, which is great, and we will be taking time out throughout the session to answer those. And in the event you want to revisit the presentation at a later time or share with additional staff, this webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel shortly thereafter. Objectives for today. By the end of this webinar, you will be able to navigate Trust Central and manage your agency's users. And this means everything from adding users to adding permissions for users and access to specific contracts and specific sections of Trust Central. And you will be able to complete all the steps necessary in order to create and submit your budget. The agenda for today's session begins with going over the online resources already available on our website and on YouTube, an overview of Trust Central. We'll be going over agency admin and user management functionality in Trust Central, over setting up your SAMIS workflow approval chain setup, position management, adding program funders, and the budget, which is the meat and potatoes of this, is create, edit, and submit your budget, reviewing your budget via Fiscal Reports, and then breaking for some question and answers at the end. What is Trust Central? Trust Central is your hub for contracting with the Children's Trust. This is our go-to system that we use for all of our activities internally and with you all, the provider community. And this covers everything from the grant application that you submitted before and you were obviously awarded, and that's why you're here today. Now that takes us into contracting, where you will be creating your budget and executing your contract in Trust Central. And then from there, we want to say that it is web-based. You can access it from any browser, and it's accessible from any device as well. It is meant to be mobile-friendly. And the best way to access it, the most simple way, is entering trustcentral.org in your browser, as we will be doing now. As you can see here, you can just go to trustcentral.org. Then you end up at the login screen. So before going into the system itself, we do want to share some of the resources available to you. And the best way to access these is through our website at thechildrenstrust.org. We were already on this page. And then in order to access these resources specifically for providers, you do want to log in to our site by clicking this login button in the top right section. You would enter your email address and your password. And from there, you log in. If you don't have an account yet, you can create an account. It is free and it is easy to access. And from there, you log in. And then you would hover over the provider section of the nav bar, and then go to policies and forms. Once you're in Policies and Forms on this page, seems like we're having some audio issues. So if you're having audio issues with your computer, we do recommend that you call in, and you will be getting better results that way. So the phone number to call in, you should see it available within your settings, but it is 917-210-2601, and the access code that you will be asked for is 0170595. And I do know that we hear some beeping sounds while you're on the call, and that is normal. That is just other participants joining the session. So that's it will diminish as we go on and people finish joining the session. So we go into, as I was mentioning, we're on Trust Central, the Children's Trust.org. You log in, you hover over the Provider tab in our nav bar, our navigation bar, and then you click on Policies and Forms. And on this page, this is where you're going to find pretty much a table of contents for all the resources available to you for your process in contracting with the trust and beyond, and they're organized by type. And under each page, on each page, you will find a Trust Central support section at the bottom. As it is developed, we currently have it now for this page, and for the fiscal page, we'll continue adding them as we go. And then you can access the guides. They are PDFs, and they're descriptively named. And the other section where you'll find support is actually on our YouTube channel. And one way, the easiest way probably to access this, is clicking on our YouTube videos guide PDF. And here you will have the link to our YouTube channel as well as an outline of all the videos available as a table of contents. So we're going to click on the channel just for you to see it. And once you're on, whether it's our website, on Trust Central, or on our YouTube page, you can always bookmark this for future reference. Here you will see all of the videos we have, generally organized into playlists. Playlists are organized by topic, and each topic has multiple videos. You can also look at these specific videos and search for the one that you're interested in. Budget as an example. So these are the resources available to you. We do encourage that you use them. Everything that we're covering in this webinar does have video and or written resources that are created to complement it between the YouTube page and our website. So let's go back to Trust Central. As I mentioned, you would access it at trustcentral.org. And here, I was already logged in, but let me log out. Here you would see the login page. You would sign in with your user ID that you have and then your password. And if you forget your password for any reason, you can always click here, the forgot your password link, and you would be able to reset your password and continue on from there. That is the quickest and easiest way to do this. If you don't have a Trust Central login ID, we are going to cover that next as we talk about the agency admin functionality. So here I am logged in to Trust Central, and I am a user. As you can see, this is our development site for training purposes. So I'm logged in as a user for a provider. This is the kind of access that you would see. And here to show you like an overview of what it looks like, on the bottom you would have access to the different modules in Trust Central. We have agency admin, grants, my profile, contracts, metrics, and SAMIS. And your view may differ from this depending on the access you have been granted by your agency, but these are the ones that are available to you. And these modules, in addition to being available on the home page, they're always available in our navigation bar as well. You click on the three lines, or the hamburger menu as it's called, and then on the side you would be able to access all of these modules at any time. As a brief run through agency admin, which we'll be going into next, is how the administrator users at your agency control access for the different users at your agency and what contracts and what functionality they have access to. Grants, you all have been through this one as you applied for a grant and were awarded one, and now we're preparing for this next funding cycle. My profile includes your personal information, your login. You can reset your password here. Contracts is where your executed contract will be and other contract-related documents. Metrics is where you will see reports about your program performance, reports that are generated by the Children's Trust and our staff, as well as your growth plan will be in here. And SAMIS, which we will also be in later, contains a lot of different functionality and data, and the two big subsets are programmatic, which you will enter your program data, including participants, demographics, attendance, and then the fiscal component, which we will be spending most of our time in today, where you will create your budgets, your reimbursements, and all kind of financial activity. So let's go into the agency admin. The agency admin, it's important to keep this in mind. All of you have an agency admin currently set up. You can choose to change this agency admin, but what's important to keep in mind and kind of break out from the top is your agency admin is the person that really controls your agency's access to Trust Central. And this person controls everything from your users to the access they have. We purposely give you this control so you can set that up on your own, and it's more efficient that way, and it's a quicker process for you. So this person has the access to create and deactivate all user accounts, as well as modify specific access to programs and modules within Trust Central. The agency admin is the only person that has this access at your agency. You might have multiple in some cases, but these are the people you would need to go to in order to get any of these settings changed. So it is important to keep this in mind. If you look to change your current agency admin, you want to make sure that it is the right fit for the role. So let's say I am logged in and I need access to the new program, which is a first step. Everyone needs to have access to the new program in the system in order to be able to work on it, even if you're an existing provider. So I want to find out who my agency admin is. I would click on the top right on my name, and then I would click either on my name again or my profile. And this gives me my profile information. As you can see, I can update my info, but most importantly, right there at the top, you see your agency name, and then you would see the administrators for your agency. In this case, we have 2 administrators, and you would see them here. So you know if you do need a change in access to certain components of Trust Central, you would reach out to your agency administrator. And even if you are an agency administrator, and you might not be aware of it, you will also see yourself up here, and that will become more clear to you. So now we know who the agency administrator is. Let's say we want to add a new program for existing staff, and how will we do that? I want to go back to the agency admin module within Trust Central. I want to click on users at the top of the page, and then I will click on the user which I want to update access for. Let's say I want to update access for Shedia Nelson. I will click on her user. Here we'll see all her information, but what I really want to do now is click Modify in the top left of the screen in order to modify her information. And here we'll see all of her current information for her profile, beginning with her name. We can update her password if needed through different preferences, but what we really want to get to for this purpose is all the way at the bottom in the 2 sections that are named Groups and SAMIS Configuration. Here we can see all of the boxes are checked off for Groups, and Groups is the type of access that you have available to you within Trust Central. And the type of access is really the modules that we discussed. So Shedia has access to contracts, to metrics, to SAMIS Fiscal, and SAMIS Programmatic. This is an agency decision depending on how you want to set it up, that you would choose which modules they have. If you want to change it, if somebody is now doing something different at your agency, you would add that access. Then the other part is what programs they have access to. So let's say She already has access to our new program, but for the sake of demonstration, let's say we want to add this program, and let's re-add the access to the current program. So she's able to create the budget and work on entering program data. Then we save it. And by this time, once she logs into Trust Central, she will have all the access that she needs in order to work in all the modules and all the available programs. Now I will hand it over to my colleague Brenda to walk us through the process for creating and submitting a budget.
Good morning. This portion of the training is related to SAMIS Fiscal, and we're going to have an overview of all the steps to require or needed to create and submit your budget. Before we can go ahead to create a budget, let's go back to SAMIS, and let me show you an overview of how SAMIS look like. So once you log in, go to SAMIS. Then at the top of the screen, you will see below where it says SAMIS. You will find a toolbar where you can access different pages. You will see dashboard, programs, cases, participant, fiscal, positions, reports, admin, and options. So those are the options pages that you will be using in SAMIS. For the fiscal portion, most likely you will be using programs. Programs will give you an access to a general visuals about your program. It's the place where you're gonna set up program funders, document repository. Is there any document that needs to be added to your fiscal document? You can use document repository. You will be using document repository to upload the files to support anything related to a fiscal document. And again, when I refer to fiscal document, I refer to budgets, amendments, and reimbursement. Those are the three types of documents that we manage in SAMIS. Now, if we move to fiscal, this is another tab that you will be using a lot. Let's go over the options that you have under fiscal. Fiscal documents. It allowed you to view all fiscal documents created in the system. So if you want to see, it's just a view only. If you want to see all the documents that are in the system, fiscal document is the place that you need to visit. My approval queue. My approval queue is a place where those users assigned to an approval role can perform an action in a fiscal document. So those the SAMIS use an approval process to manage all the fiscal document. Every fiscal document will have their approval process. So in order to establish that approval process, we need to set up approval workflows. And those users that are set up in the system to perform any type of action like creating, modifying, submitting, rejecting, or approving a fiscal document, those users are the one who will have access to my approval queue. The next one is workflow. As I mentioned, the SAMIS use an approval process to approve documents. Then let's move to positions. And positions, it's the central place where Trust Central SAMIS module identified positions and staff from your agency that support your program. It's here where the information about position, staff, and relation of a position to a program is created and maintained to be used later in a fiscal document. So position management, here is where you set up all your positions that are going to be used in a fiscal document later. Then if we move to the right, we will see reports, and reports will give you access. There's some already reports already created and available. For this training, we will look at the budget reports. There's two reports that we use, and we will discuss them later on. So let's start with let's have an overview of what needs to occur for you to create and submit a budget. First, we need to set up a workflow approval change. Then we need to set up all positions that are going to be used in or are going to be supporting your program. Next, we need to set up program funders. These are other these are funders other than the Children Trust that will be supporting your program. Then you will be able, with that, you will be able to create your budget. The next step will be for you to edit and review your budget. We recommend the use of the reports, SAMIS reports, so you can review, better review your, and as part of your reviewing process. And then once you review your budget, you can submit. So let's start with the setup workflow approval change. So to go to approval change, go to Fiscal, Workflows, Approval Change Setup. You will need to select the program. Now, this is very standard for all programs. At the top of the screen, you will see the program name, the agency name. Then you will have sections that are related to amendments, who are going to be performing a place where you're going to be selecting or setting up or identifying the users that are going to be performing certain roles in the approval change. The system for every fiscal document requires a creator and a submitter. The creator is the only one who can create a fiscal document, create and modify. And the submitter is the only one who can submit to the Children Trust the fiscal document. So you will notice that for every fiscal document, we have an approval change. For this training, let's set the approval change for budget. It is recommended that you set the approval change for every fiscal document only for amendments, budgets, and reimbursement. If we scroll down in the screen, you will see budget to actual. We don't use budget to actual. Don't enter anything there. And audit work papers. Those are sections that we don't use in the system. So for now, let's set a budget, an approval workflow for a budget. Let's set one. a creator, and as the submitter, let's set Juan Sanchez. This is very important. If this step is not completed, you will not be able to create a budget. Okay? If you scroll down in the screen, you will find the Save button. Click Save. Now, so that is what we have for workflow approval chain setup. The next step is to create positions. Let's go to positions and let's search. Like I mentioned before, position is the central place where all the positions are stored and maintained. Those positions are the ones that we will be using later in a fiscal document. So before creating, and those positions are set up as at the agency level. So just think like it's a roster from your agency, and you will list all positions, possible positions that will be supporting from your agency that will be supporting your program. So before creating new positions, and for those of you that has been with the Children's Trust in prior year that have been funded, most likely you have positions already in the system. You don't need to create a new position if the position already exists in the system. The only thing that you need to do is update the program support to link that position to a program. So let's see that we want to search for, I want to create a program coordinator. My list doesn't show any of the program coordinator. It's not there. So I check that. Let me go and create a new position. So let's create, you will need to select and complete all fields that are marked with an asterisk. So enter the agency, enter the title at the agency. This is the position title at your agency. Then select the category. We have categories that we already defined them. Please use the best that fit the description for this position. Then enter the number of expected, the hours expected to work at the agency. Enter the position start date. Most likely it will be if this is a new position, it will be the first date of your contract period. And then position end date, please leave it in blank. Otherwise, you will be closing the positions, and the position will not be available to be used in a fiscal document. Then if you continue scrolling down, the next section is linking that position to a program support. So let's select the program that we want to link. This position is going to be supporting this program. The support start date, again, most likely is your first date of the contract period. And so enter the percentage that this position will be allocated to the program. So for purpose of this training, let's enter 20. The next portion of this screen is assigning a staff. Who is in that filling that position? So you will assign a staff. You can type, enter the name of the person. If you don't find the person in the system, then you will need to create a new staff. always the same way. Before creating a new staff, like the same way that you do with position, before creating a new position, make sure that the position doesn't exist. So before creating a new staff, make sure that the staff it doesn't exist either. So let's enter first name, last name, and just click if it's active. These are the only fields that are required by the Children Trust. There's other fields available, but we don't use them. And let's create. Assign the staff, enter the number of hours, and enter the starting date. Okay? Once you are completed, you can save. Before saving, let me mention something about this screen. At the bottom part of the screen, there is a section that says, after saving, go to. You can, if you look at the drop-down list, you can go stay in this screen after saving. You can go back to result list, will give you the list of all positions, or you can create a new position directly from here. So this is to facilitate the data entry on your side. And this functionality is also available through other screens in SAMIS and Trust Central. Let's save. Now, let's once we save, we return to the main screen for this position. If we need to modify this position, we will need to go back to and click the button that says Modify, and then scroll down and make the changes that as needed. If this is a position if you are an agency that have multiple contracts with us, and this position will be supporting multiple programs, the only thing that you will need to add is add new program support and select the other program that this position will be supporting and complete the same information. Select the staff. Select enter the number of weeks, hours per week, and the starting date. You can use a calendar feature or you can just type. And save. For those of you that have already positions in the system, what we just did is the way for you to link one position that is already in the system to a new program. For all of you that have been in prior years, these contracts starting in the new funding cycle are new programs. Therefore, you need to link them to the positions if the positions are going to be supporting the new program. So this is an overview of positions management. There's another position, there's a special position, and I want to just describe what position we have a special position called fringe benefit, and position fringe benefit position, it's a special position that represent the sum of all positions that are going to be allocated to a program. This special position called fringe benefit will be representing them. So Fringe benefit needs to be established in position management, and it needs to be created if it's not in existence, if it's not created already. Um, and in the way to create this position is the same way that you create any of the other positions. But what is important is that this position will represent and will be used in your budget to represent the amount of fringe benefits um, for all positions. Okay? So let's go to the next step will be program funders. So program funders are funders other than the Children's Trust that provide resources to support the program. Program funders information must be set up each fiscal year before a new budget is created. And to access program funders, go to the tab that says Program, Search, select the program, your program that you're going to be entering the program funder for. And if you notice at the left side of the screen, there is a drop down. Select first your fiscal year, and then select your fiscal year, and then select from the where it says detail, select funders. Okay, so most likely this screen will be empty if you are creating for the first time program funders. It's not a required it's not a required uh, um, I mean, it's not required for you to have it. It's we want program funders, other funders to match to support your program. But if you don't have other program funders, this step might not be needed for you to complete. So to create a new program funder, go to the button that says New Program Funder. You will need to select the fiscal year, and the fiscal year will be your contracting period. The funder, select the type of funders. For this purpose, let's include in-kind contribution, or program fees. It's fine. Always capture the data at the budget level and just save. Now, this screen is not the portion where you add amounts or identified amounts. That is in your budget. What we are doing here is setting up a drop down that is going to be available in your budget. Now, so with that, we just set up program funders. So far what we have done, we create a workflow which said who is going to be doing what in the system related to fiscal documents. We just enter the program funders. We create positions. We set the program funders. So now we are in a better position to go and create a budget. So, it's any question at this point that you want to address? How do we change the name of a staff member for a carryover position from a previous year? Unfortunately, we cannot change the staff member name because if the staff member it's already associated with a payment, we cannot change history. So you will need to create a new staff member. Um, how, I'm sorry. Do we have to add a program support to fringe benefit? Yes. Remember, program support is where you link your position to a program. And if you don't link the position to a program, then the position will not be available in your budget. Okay? So we need to continue with our training, but we will have more time to answer questions later at the end of this training. Okay? So let's start with creating a budget. Let me the way to create a budget, it's by a budget or any fiscal document, it's by going to Fiscal My Approval Queue. If you don't see My Approval Queue, My Queue um, as a option in the drop down in Fiscal, that means that you are not set up in the approval chain setup. So that means that you need to go back to workflow and make sure that you are in the workflow, that you have an assignment. And obviously, the only user that can create a budget or any fiscal document is the one that is set up as the creator of the fiscal document. So let's create a new fiscal document. Let's go at the top and where it says New Approval Request, click the button, select the fiscal year, and again, the fiscal year is the contract period, the contract term. For purposes of this training, we will select 8/1, 18/19, 8/1/19, 7/31/19, and select the agency program, the area. We will be selecting budgets and start a renewal request. We just create our first budget, and the system took us to the budget screen. Let me describe this screen. At the top, you maintain the pages, SAMIS pages that you can move through them. Below that menu, you will see the budget that has the program name and your agency name. Below that, you have 4 buttons. You have details, which is every time that you click details, it will bring you to this screen. The next button is add node. With this, you can add any comment to the fiscal document. It could be used for communication or to communicate with other reviewers and with the children trust as well, related to the budget or to the fiscal document. And anything that is added in a node, it's stored or maintained in the narrative log. And the audit trail is the other button available at the top. That audit trail will allow you to see what is the status, where the fiscal document is. If you click there, you will see that we just create our budget, and it will track everything related to the fiscal document. So let's go back to detail. If we continue, you will see the fiscal year, the contract amount, the contract number, the allocation for this program, and where the document is currently. Right now, it's at the creator's queue, and it identifies the user. The next portion, there are 3 sections related to the budget: salaries account, expense accounts, and program funders. You will see all the line items available, and I have to say that please refer to the budget guidelines that are posted in our website. Those budget guidelines have more detail of what we need, what we are looking for, what is allowable for every line item. And the next portion is funders. And this section is the one that you will be identified other funders and the amount that other funders will be contributing to support this program. And at the bottom part of the screen, you will see three different buttons: save, delete, and forward. As this action buttons might be different depending on the role. If you are set up as the submitter instead of forwarding, the button will read submit, and that's when you hit that button, it's when you submit the fiscal document to the Children's Trust. So let's start entering information about salaries. Go to salaries at the salary accounts, and you can see all the line items related to salaries and fringe benefits. I'm sorry. Let me go back to position. And if you notice, we only have the program, the fringe benefit. And let me add a program support so this can be visible in your budget. And okay, and let me save. I just add the program support so it can be available in our budget. Okay, now the position is visible and available in the budget. To edit that position, press program the title, and let's describe this screen. At the top, you will continue seeing the fiscal year, the contract number, contract amount. Now we are in the position screen. It will tell you the position ID number. It tells you who is in the position. All this information is coming from position management. The percentage of salary charged to the program and charged to CSC, it will be populated. It's a calculated amount, and it will be populated depending on the amounts that we will be entering. Then the next portion is the narrative. For purposes of this, for budgets and for positions, the minimum that we require is to be a full-time. Tell us if this is a full-time or a part-time position. The frequency of payment. I'm sorry. And if this position is it's a match position, please identify the match source. After you enter that's the minimum that we are requiring. Um, you calculations are not needed in this position in the narrative. I'm sorry, because we have a calculation box that will help us and will maintain those numbers and calculations. So if we scroll down, you will see all the positions, all the line items related to salaries and wages. For positions, we only require regular salaries and FICA. Those are the two values that we need for you to enter in this screen. The fringe benefits are, and the other fringe benefits that you are providing to your employees are entered in the position called fringe benefit position. Okay? So let's start. Let's enter the gross salary. The gross salary must be equal to the amount that that position is paid at the agency. Or then let's add the calculation. In that table, you have the gross salary, you have the program allocation, the CSC allocation. Everywhere that you see in the system program allocation refers to the total cost of the total cost related, total cost. Then the CSC allocation is the portion that you are requesting funds from the Children Trust. So, and we need to have both filled out. So to enter calculations, please click on the pencil. It's always recommended to start with the program allocation and then enter the CSC allocation. And I have to say that once you click the pencil, a program detail allocation box that will open, and you can add as many calculations are required for this position. Calculations are entered by timing, a timing period. Let's add a calculation. The minimum, in order for the calculation box to work, the minimum that we need is to enter the number of people. Hours of rate, this hour rate needs to agree with your gross amount. The number hours per week that this position will be working. And for this purpose, we're going to enter 52 weeks. However, you have, like I mentioned before, calculations are entered based on the timing period. If you are a summer-only program, then you will use summer. If this calculation is for a school year days, select the calculation for select the timing period school year, and then modify the number of weeks and number of hours accordingly. So you can have as many calculations you need in order to arrive to the amount required to run your program. So for this example, let's select year round and close salaries detail after you're done, and you will notice that the program allocation amount that we just calculate has been populated in the program allocation column. If we go to the same way, we will go to the CSC allocation and we will enter the calculation numbers. This position let's see that this position is working 20 hours instead of, it will be devoted to the program 40 hours per week, but from the trust you will be requiring only 20%, 20 hours per week for the same period of time. So here you will see that the program allocation it's $42,000, but you're requesting from us $21,000. That means that this position has a match. It's being matched by another funder. Now, let's close the position calculation box. And now, like I mentioned, we don't enter. We need to enter the FICA, MICA values, which currently the Children Trust paid up to 7.65% of the salary. And every fringe benefit must be in agreement or in alignment with the allocation percentage allocated to the program. So any fringe benefit, if we are not paying 100% of the salaries, we will be paying at the same rate that you are paying, that you are allocating the salaries. I'm sorry. So retirement contribution, life insurance, health insurance, workers' compensation, and unemployment compensation, those are values that are going to be entered in fringe benefit position. So we are done with this position, but I want to show you that at the bottom part you have the after saving go to. You can select any other position and the system will take you to that new position. So let's go to fringe benefit. And then for fringe benefit, like I mentioned before in the narrative, please enter, since fringe benefit will represent the sum of all the fringe benefit for all positions. We will require a little bit, the calculations must be entered in the narrative section, calculations that support the amount that you are requesting. So, and that calculation and that description must be included in the narrative section. Scroll down. Regular salaries and wages, fringe benefit will have no salaries and will have no FICA, MICA, any amount entered for that. However, it will have the other fringe benefit depending on what you offer to your employees. So for the purpose of this training, let's enter retirement contribution. Let's enter some numbers that it will help us. Okay. Okay. So I entered amounts in the system in each column. Just make sure that the justification, the narrative contain the amount and the calculation, how you arrive to the amounts entered in the line items. Okay? So we have entered two positions. We enter a salary for one position and the fringe benefit. Let's save. You can. This is the same way that all positions are um, are entered. All the salaries and all salaries information are entered the same way. So let's go to select budget summary page and let's save. Now you will notice that in your main screen, you will see the amounts, the salaries, um, FICA, all the information that you enter in the salary accounts has been populated in this main screen. So let's go to the expense account. There's a question about rounding issues, and yes, you can round the issue the amounts. The gross about the this question is about hourly amount equal. Because of the rounding issue, it's hard to make the hourly amount equal to the exact salary. In some instances, this is a calculation that we understand that, um, but the difference shouldn't be greater. And if that is the case, just place a note in the narrative just stating that this, because of the rounding, it's a rounding issue, the gross amount could be less than or higher or than that the calculations um, may differ from the gross amount. Okay. So let's continue with the expense accounts. For purpose of this demonstration, let's enter utilities. Let's use utilities as an example. Every um, um, expense account, this is the standard screen. You will notice the narrative at the top and a section to enter the calculations and the amount and a field where you will enter the amount that you are requesting from the Children Trust. So as an example, let's enter. So yeah, let's use this as a good example of what could be how the calculations or the details in the calculation should be entered. Um, in the So in the narrative, you will provide the detail of the calculations, and then if you will enter you can use the total amounts, enter them in the calculation to get to the total program budget for this line item. You can use a formula using parentheses, asterisk, plus sign. You can create any formula that help you to enter the calculations. Then automatically, as a default, the system entered the amount funded by the Children Trust to be equal to the calculation. The calculation will always be the program budget. So if you are not requesting funds a completely amount from the Children Trust, you can modify that. Let's see that instead of the 4,493 that this calculation, the result of this calculation was, you are requesting $4,000. You can modify that amount in here. Like I mentioned in the other screen, there's the section after saving go to. You can go to a different screen, to a different line item. So you will select a different line item and you can save the expense and then the system will take you to that new line item. Otherwise, you can go to the budget summary page and save the expense. So all expense accounts are entered in the same way, and my suggestion is again to use the refer to the budget guidelines that they are available in our website to have more details on what is required or what is allowable on those line items. So we already create the budget. Now we enter the salaries. We enter the the expense account. Now we have a grand total line. We know that this program costs $60,000, $60,788, and out of that amount, you are requesting $34,555. So the difference should be what other funders will be supporting, right? So the difference between the program costs and the CSC costs will be your funders. So to add other funders, we just need to go to the funder section and enter an amount. I know that the difference will be $39,292, and I know that this other ABC $30,000 are coming from the ABC Foundation, and 39 to 12. I'm sorry, 9212 coming from program fees. Okay, so save. So the difference between the program amount and the CSC should be equal to your program funders. Okay, this is very important before you submit your budget. So now, the last part of this training is to show you where the fiscal documents, the reports, how you can review the information that you enter. If we go all the way at the top, you can move to reports, budgets. There's two reports in here that are part of your contract. One is the budget summary, and the other one is the comprehensive budget amendment. It's our suggestion for you to run these two reports and review, make sure that everything is entered, that calculations that are required are included, and because these two are part of your contract. So just to demonstrate how these two works, budget summary, you will select your contract period, select your program, and these reports are available in 3 different formats. Our suggestion is to always use PDF format. And then you will see at the bottom a link to open the report. And this is the report. It shows you the total program amount, the CSC portion, and the expense, the salaries expense account, similar to the budget screen. And at the bottom part, the program funders. If something is missing here, you know that you need to go back and enter that information. So how we go back to our budget, since I'm the creator, I will be going back to my approval queue. I select my budget, and I can continue editing as I need. You need. One more thing. If we go to, let me see. No, I think that we are now good for questions. If there are any question that we can answer, this is the time. Let me see. I appreciate that your patient. I know it's a lot of information here, and we are looking forward this season, contracting season. Okay, yes. This is gonna be uploaded into YouTube after today. Today in the afternoon. After this, we are done here. There's something else. If we are waiting for staff to be processed for employment when creating position, can we add a general description staff 1 or TBD in the name area? Yes. If you don't have a staff at the time that you're creating your budget, if you don't have a staff hired already, you can use TBD as the as placeholder for the staff. Okay. Are we able to already start with budget creation? Yes, of course. You guys are ready. You guys are ready to go and start working in your budget. We're waiting for those. What if your program is not listed in your SAMIS profile? We have reached out to the contract manager. Okay. If your program is not listed in your profile, that means that your admin needs to grant you access to this new program. So contact your agency admin, and the agency admin will grant you access to the new program. Who can we contact if we have any question while our inputting budget? It's always recommended you contact your contract manager. Keep a good communication with them. They are prepared for help and to guide you through all this. And if you have any question, contact email them, and they will reach you back. Oh, there's one question here that says, please remind us where to find the videos resources from the Children's Trust. I'm going to give to Jorge, and he will help you.
And that is a great question that runs us into a last section, which is a refresher of what we covered before. So for every topic that we covered during this webinar, there are written guides and video tutorials available. And I will run through that just because it can't hurt to refresh, and they are very useful. So if you go to thechildrenstrust.org, you will go to the Provider tab. You will see this once you are logged in. As you see, I'm logged in, so I don't want to log out. And then the best place to go is Policies and Forms. And here you will have links to all of the different resources available to you. And they were grouped by category. So under financial, you will find the budget guidelines that we talked about. And at the bottom of each of these pages, as they are available, you will find this Trust Central support icon. And under that, you will see the specific guides that are available to you. For example, one question that came up earlier was the agency admin question. Here you will see this guide that gives you step-by-step instructions with screenshots on how to perform that. There are also videos available for it. So the videos question that was just asked, if you click on the YouTube videos guide, here you will see a link to our YouTube channel, and you will also see links by topic. So the agency admin question actually has an answer both in written form and in video, and this is a playlist of the 3 videos that are for that agency admin topic. This is the channel, our YouTube channel, and you will see we have videos, playlists, and there are 2. You will notice if you are searching on YouTube, there are 2 Children's Trust channels. You will want to select the one that mentions Provider Support Channel, and here you will have access to all of our video resources. One more very useful functionality on our website is the calendar. The calendar will have plenty of upcoming events such as community events, public meetings, where you will see our board meetings and committee meetings, and most importantly for you, the provider activities as well. So here you will see all of the different training opportunities available to you. The webinar, which you registered for, is on here. Some of the most important sessions coming up are the contracting work sessions that we have planned from now through the next few weeks, the ones that are currently on the calendar, and you can sign up for them on there. We encourage you to. We have 2 sessions on the 15th, we have 1 on the 19th, and 2 on the 25th of June. And do make it a habit of checking back on the calendar. Keep an eye on your email for the weekly provider bulletin for these types of opportunities, and check back to the website and the YouTube resources as well as you go through all of this. Your contract managers are always there to help, but it is most helpful and we can make best use of our time together if you refer to these resources first, and you don't have to wait for a reply or whatnot, and it's a lot more empowering that way. We're going to make one more check for questions. And we hope you found this helpful. You will be receiving an email after this with links to the different resources we have described. The video will be posted, as Brenda mentioned, by this afternoon. And do sign up for the upcoming contracting work sessions. And you will also be receiving a link to a survey to gather your feedback on this webinar. It would be very helpful to hear what you think and how we can make it better for future sessions. And thank you very much for joining us today. And we greatly appreciate your time and your feedback, and look forward to working with you over the coming months and the next 5 years. Thank you for what you do for our community. Have a good one.